Here's the PowerPoint on topographic mapping profiles. It's similar to the PowerPoint before with just topographic maps, but now instead of looking down, just like we are, like if we were up on an airplane, we're gonna almost cut the land so that we're looking at it as if it was in front of our face. So we're looking at a profile now. There aren't any official notes for this video, but you just need to follow along, pay attention. There are a lot of questions along the way. Actually think about the answer in your head before you hear me come on and give you the answer. You'll just need a scrap sheet of paper at the end because there are 6 questions, and then I'll go through the answers with you. What is a topographic map? In contrast to most maps, a topographic map shows the shape of the Earth's surface by using contour lines. Contours are imaginary lines that join points of equal elevation above or below sea level. So contours are everywhere along a contour line has the exact same elevation because it's joining points of equal elevation. And then it does say it's below sea level as well. If we wanted to, we could do a contour map of an ocean basin. Now we're going to go on a little walk with our little explorer man up a hill. And the little explorer man's got his compass. He's walking up the hill. He's gone from the base all the way up to 100 meters. He's going to keep going up. Now he's at 200 meters. He's going to keep going up. The day keeps going on. And now he's up to 300 meters. Now he's going to get all the way up to the top. We're on the peak, but what is the elevation? Any idea? What can we at least narrow it down to? That it's above what? If we add in some contour lines, it's going to make it a little bit easier so we can figure out a little bit more specifically. Now we got more contour lines, so now we know it's above at least 350. But how do we know that's not all the way up to 400 meters? Because there's no 400 meter line. We see a 350, but without that 400 meter line on there, we can't say that he's at 400 meters. We just know that he's above 350. So he's somewhere between 351 and 399 meters. Now he's going to get down the hill. Whee! What is his elevation now? Look at where he's standing. Where are his feet? It's going to be between 200 and 250 meters. So now we're going to do another one. Got to keep going down. Whee! Now look at where his feet are. Where is he now? He's about 50 meters or just under, because if we looked at his feet, he looks like he's just below the 50-meter mark. Now let's take a look at the same hill, but we're going to change the way we're looking at it. So instead of looking at it right in front of our eyes, we're going to look down on it, just like a topographic map, like we've been doing. Each color change represents a 50-meter increase. So we're going to do the same thing that we just saw in profile view, but now we're going to look at it as a topographic map view. And where he's standing right now is 0 meters, so he's right at sea level. He's going to go up, just like he did before. What is the elevation now? Think about counting by 50s, just like we did on the profile. It's got to be more than 150, but less than 200. Because here's 0, there's 100, or there's 50 rather. 0, 50, 100, 150, here's 200, and he's between 150 and 200. So now we're going to go up a little bit higher. Now he's standing in the red. So what is the elevation going to be? Count by 50s again. More than 300 meters, but less than 350, because here's 0, 50, 100, 150, 200, 250, 300, there's 350, and he's standing in the red, so he's between 300 and 350. If we were standing on the peak, what would the elevation be? We just said that this is 350. This is a 350 line. So what's the elevation going to be at the peak? It's got to be more than 350, but less than 400, because we don't have a 400 line. So without a 400 line above this 350 line, we can't say that it's 400 meters. It's got to be somewhere between 351 and 399. Now he's going to go down the hill. Whee! And now he's in that ugly green color. So what's the elevation of the ugly green color? More than 100 meters, but less than 150 meters. Because here's 0, 50, 100. Yep, there's no 150 though, so he's somewhere above 100, but lower than 150. Hopefully you've got it. We're going to go through 6 different questions. And this is where you need your scratch sheet of paper. So it's 6 different questions. Write your answers down on your scrap sheet of paper, and then I'll go through the answers with you. Hopefully you're ready. Number 1, could the elevation at peak B be 1,410 meters? Here's the peak, letter B. Could it be 1,410 meters? Number 2, what is the elevation at E? There's letter E. What could be its elevation? Number 3, what is the elevation difference between A and B? Think about the keywords in that question. What does difference mean? Here's A, and here's B. Number 4, could the elevation at F be 417 meters? Here's F. Could it be 417 meters? Number 5, if you walked a straight line from D, where the little man is, across to C, would you walk over a ridge or down a valley? Think about from the PowerPoint before this one about topographic maps. How do you know the difference between a ridge or a valley? We talked about a valley last time as being a stream or a river. How are you going to know the difference between the two? Number 6, just by looking at the map, would it be easier to head down from the peak going east or going north? There's the peak. Would it be easier to go to the east to come down from the peak, or would it be easier to go down towards the north, which is going to be easier? Now let's go through the answers. Answer to number 1. No, the elevation must be under 1,400 meters, but over 1,300 meters. And here's revisiting number 1. Could the elevation at B be 1,400 meters? No. It says right here that this line is 1,200. Or, actually, this line is 1,200. This line is 1,300, so it could not be 1,410 meters because there's no 1,400 line. So it's lower than 1,400. The answer for number 2, about 400 meters. The question was, what is the elevation at point E? There's E. Here's the line for 400. We can assume that it keeps looping this way. So E is about 400. Number 3, A is probably close to the 700 meter line. B is above 1,300 meters. So the difference between the two numbers, because we're going to subtract them, that's what difference means, would be 600 to 700 meters. Here's A, there's B, and we've subtracted, because we're going to say this is above 1,300, and A is probably close to 700. Because there's 400, there's 800, this must be 600, A is in the middle, so it's probably 700. Number 4, no, it must be more than 600 meters and less than 800 meters. The question from 4 was, could the elevation at F be 417 meters? Here's F. No, it could not be. This right here says it's 800, so F could not be 400. Number 5, you're going to go down a valley. If the contour lines point up the slope, it's a valley, or like a stream. And if they point down the slope, it's a ridge. And those lines are pointed up towards the peak. Remember, water is going to come down out of the open part of the V. So water is going to come down from the peak to the lower elevation. Also, water's not going to flow uphill. If it was a ridge, the V's would be pointed down to lower elevations. So this has to be a stream or a valley. The answer for number 6. It would be easier to go down the mountain by going east because the contour lines are further apart if you head to the east. They're close together if you head to the north. See right here? They're close together, so that means it's really steep here. Whereas if we were to head to the east, they're far apart. So that gives us longer to go the same distance down to this contour line out here, whereas we're going faster down going towards the north. So it would be easier to walk a gentle slope towards the east.